After months of destruction and setbacks, we are finally ready to build the inside of our van.
I got you, yeah, my crew. We alley you, yeah, alley you, yeah. 'Cause we do what we do. We alley you, yeah, alley you, yeah.
So Colin and I could not be more excited because we finally got the van to a point where we can start to build it out. But first, we need materials.
Let's go to Home Depot to get the stuff.
What he said.
I got you, yeah, my crew. We alley you.
The first thing we gotta get is foam board for the floor.
What we do, we alley you, yeah, alley you,
Now for the plywood.
alley you.
So we got 3 sheets of OSB board for our floor and 1 3/4 inch piece of plywood that we're gonna cut down for our fairing strips.
Let's go up to the sun, we so high above. Packing out the upper room, yeah, you know it's us. Yeah, you know that we ready to go. Take it a step at a time, we just enjoying the ride.
Now that we got the materials for the subfloor, we have a few final preparations to make before we can install it. We have to fill a few holes that we missed. We have to sand down the rest of the JB weld on not all, but most of the holes that we filled. We have to bondo the big holes in the back, and then finally paint over them to seal them. Based on the placement of the furring strips, we only have to sand the JB weld that is on a top rib, and anything that's in a valley of the floor, we could probably leave as is.
Everybody shout it out. Let's get it together here and now. Everybody raise your voices and gather around. Gather around. Oh, come on everybody.
Well, I understand why people recommend JB weld. This stuff is rock solid. Nothing is getting through this. If you're wondering why we are sanding the floor and sanding the JB weld down, it's so that our fairing strips on install will lie completely flat, like this. After sanding this bolt hole, our fairing strip can lie flat on the ribs of the floor. And next up, we have to clean the floor, and then I can lay a coat of paint over those holes to make sure that no rust gets through any of that bare metal. Well, it looks like we're gonna run out of daylight, but I wiped down the floor of the van. Tomorrow we'll give it a lick of paint to finish it off, as well as finally bondo these big holes that are in the back. Once those are done, we will finally be ready to move on to installing the subfloor. So I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. Well, it's a bright early day here, and I thought before I would start work that I would just quickly go over and paint the floor so that it can dry for later, where we continue sanding and bonding. The purpose of this is just to cover any exposed metal, as well as fill in any little gaps in the floor to make it watertight. I don't know if this would be completely necessary, as the JB weld worked so well, but paint is so cheap and it's just a quick little job, so I thought, why not? One advantage of working on a floor is it doesn't exactly need to look pretty. It just needs to not let water in, and you need to manage all the possible areas it could rust without you knowing. Well, I got it all painted. I actually had to stop filming myself because my hands were covered in so much paint that I was getting it all over my camera. So I kind of just finished it off. But it looks really, really good. It almost looks like how it should look when you get it from the factory. Now we just have 2 holes to patch Bondo and paint from where the AC unit was. We actually got some Bondo, which is used for auto body repair, and we're gonna actually fill the holes with that. But first, I gotta do a little bit of work, so just give me like a few seconds.
One eternity later.
Why is it so difficult? Got it. Step 1, clean surface. Sand the damaged area. We need cream hardener. Mix thoroughly to uniform color. Allow to cure for 30. Apply 2 to 3 coats of primer. Okay, seems simple enough. That all happened really fast. I've never worked with Bondo before, and I knew that it gets hard fast, but it felt like seconds. Maybe I put a little bit too much hardener in it, but I still got the job done. And luckily, with this hole, this Bondo patch, as long as it's sealed and doesn't let any water, the aesthetics don't matter. So I'll let these dry, and then I will quickly sand them down before painting them, and then we're all done. And let me remind you that there was actually 122 bolts and screws and holes in the floor that had to be resolved before we could finally move on to this step. But I'm really excited that we are finally moving on to the subfloor, and we are actually getting a little bit of help. This morning, I am on my way to go see Tyler and Meagan from Big Little Van. They are custom van builders from Toronto. I know that this whole van process it's all a learning experience, and a lot of mistakes are going to be made, especially when you have no experience doing so. So why not learn from some professionals?
Ooh la la, I like the way you move. I like the things you do. I like it when I'm with you, yeah. Ooh la la, yeah. Ooh la la, yeah. Ooh la la, yeah. I like it when I'm with you.
We realized that we're a little behind our scheduled timeline because the floor took so long to remove. So we thought it would be in our best interest to get some help to expedite the process, but also make the van build that much better.
Ooh la la, I like the way you move. I like the things you do. I like it when I'm with you, yeah. Ooh la la, you got me feeling right. I'm in a better light. I like it when I'm with you.
We got our subfloor frame in, and we actually went with 1x2s because we're really concerned about the height of the van so I don't hit my head. But 1x2s is actually 3/4 of an inch, so we got 3/4 of an inch foam board that we are now installing.
We're using foam for the floor because foam not only adds our value, but it also acts as a vapor barrier. So we don't anchor our floor down to the actual vehicle at all. It stays floating, and once you lay your subfloor, which is either plywood or OSB, that helps lock the entire system down so that it doesn't move and it won't shift or anything like that on you. So.
Ooh la la, you got me feeling right. I'm in a better light. I like it when I'm with you. Ooh la la, yeah. Ooh la la, yeah. Ooh la la, yeah. I like it when I'm with you.
I now knight you as the best van builders in the GTA. What do you think of our van?
I love it. I think it's a great van, and I think you did a great job filling the holes.
122 of them now
Sweet.
covered. Yay.
So while Tyler is finishing up the OSB board for the floor, Colin and I are gonna go up onto the roof and measure out fan and the skylights.
Hey! So we got this traced, and what we did is we drilled a hole from underneath, perfectly center, and then we put the drill bit through the hole of the center of this template into the hole in the floor, and it should be perfectly matched up. Now,
Time to cut. Wait, time to tape. And then cut.
yo, these are sick. I'm not sure why, but Paige and I are honestly freaked out at the idea of cutting holes in our van. We're trying to pawn it off, but we're getting encouragement that we can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, I'm not scared of cutting the hole, but I'm scared of messing it up.
So I'm gonna give it a whirl. Hopefully I don't f it up. How cool do I look in these sunglasses, these glasses?
Yeah.
Are these like the sickest glasses you've ever seen? I think so. My ears! Okay, that's easy. Just keep going. How'd I do? I don't believe you. Pretty good?
Looks pretty good to me.
Beginner's luck. Woo! It's off because of the ribs, right?
Yeah, the ribs are what's throwing it
Let's
off.
go! Ooh, I want to peel this off so bad. We shouldn't yet, right?
No, don't.
Oh, come on.
Can't leave it.
Okay.
When you glue it in.
This looks so good. It feels nice to actually like do cool stuff instead of just like rip bolts out and fail miserably.
Yeah.
What's that? Is that a floor? Well, we are super excited to have the van floor completed, but it feels really good to have something done after a really, really long time struggling with removing the components of the van. We are finally building it back up, and it's really, really exciting. So we're gonna leave the van with Tyler for the next couple days. He's gonna install our Maxx Air Fan, and we're finally ready for the next steps, which is insulation, electrical, vinyl flooring, fairing strips, weather sealing. We got a lot to do. Oh, see ya, bud. Bye. That's it for today, and we'll see you next episode. Be well.